Indiana Fever many fans is still poking fingers at head coach Stephanie White for actually making the game not entertaining anymore, bro. This motion offense has to be addressed, and Stephanie White has to be held accountable because it's truly the offense that she's running, and it is not for Caitlin Clark at this point. Now, both Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White spoke to the media immediately
following the actual events that took place behind the scenes. Caitlin Clark recently revealed her health in a brutally honest way. She also didn't hold back when it came to Stephanie White. Was it the shade? Was that accurate? Was it both? Served cold after being wrapped in a jump shot. This isn't your typical news conference, so you'll have to see it to believe it. No, not at all. This is uncensored Caitlin. Let's just say that everyone is stunned. Take some popcorn. That's the type of video.
At times we could have played a little bit faster, and I think that's on me, like not conceding in that. We still got to play up tempo. We still got to play fast. But I mean, I thought for the most part we did a lot of stuff that coach wanted us to do, and that wasn't why we lost.
I can't hold you, man. That kind of looked like she let that slip out, man. I don't know. But I mean, we all see it. When they play slow, it's just not a good team, man. They're not as good as we see that they could be, right? So they need to play fast, man. I think, they don't necessarily look that good when they're playing half-court ball. Maybe taking something from the Valkyries, man. The Valkyries run, all right? They be running.
Appears spiritually drained and worn out rather than fatigued. Caffeine, fumes, and sheer willpower are what keep Caitlin Clark going. The WNBA, on the other hand, presents her with every obstacle imaginable, treating her like a deranged American ninja warrior with worse officials and even worse coaching. Disregard the hardwood. This woman is negotiating landmines.
The league needs to take care of Caitlin, not for special treatment purposes, but that's who everybody's there to see. Everybody wants to see Caitlin Clark play. And if you let other teams and other people beat the shit out of her, she's going to spend 2 weeks out injured. And your attendance is going to drop because people aren't going to get the chance to see her. And if you actually want to be paid the same as the NBA players, obviously not by actual dollar for dollar, but for revenue percentage, you need to protect her. You need her to be playing at her best and not be having...
She has become the favorite chew toy of referees, who must have thought she was a tackling dummy, even though she has been the poster child for progress, optimism, and ticket sales. Missed calls are no longer the only issue. Referees measure how many illegal screens and shoulder knocks a player can withstand before becoming emotional jelly in this full-fledged scientific experiment.
Aces defeated the Indiana Fever 89-81. And this game was disappointing for many fans, not only for the fact that it seemed like the Fever had this one in the bag, but they kind of gave it away at the end of the game, but also because it seemed like there was something off with this Fever team. They didn't have the same energy and spark that we all know and love. So many fans are asking, what is going?
It's also not a pleasant sight. The whistles have evolved into wind instruments that only sound when she is engaged in an activity. All of a sudden, the rulebook seems like Chaos's choose-your-own-adventure book. It's play on if someone sneezes on her. However, she will be suspended for 2.5 games if she breathes close to someone.
I have figured out the solution to the Indiana Fever's problems. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. This is what we got to do. We got to put Caitlin Clark off ball. We need to run a motion offense, so when the defense takes away what Caitlin Clark does best, we have other players that can still perform, so when she does have bad games, we're not completely dead in the water. I think that is the best way to move forward with this Indiana Fever team.
Clark feels as though he is staring into space each time he turns to face the bench. As the game descends into even more mayhem, Stephanie White stands there making gestures like she's placing an order for coffee in a boisterous drive-thru. It's interpretative dancing, not coaching. The participants are trapped in a fast-paced existential crisis as they struggle to figure out which version of the plan they are following, if any, and it's beginning to show. One moment she demands a quick pace, and the next she's yelling about patience. Park's game appears to be buffering now, instead of being clear and exciting. Her confidence is a little shaken, and her passes are a little late. Where she used to attack with wild genius, she is now hesitating. And really, who wouldn't? Imagine attempting to play basketball at the highest level while continuously monitoring your bench for indications of sentient life and your back for flying elbows. At this rate, Caitlin will require either an exorcist or a spectacle, or perhaps both, as the treatment she is receiving goes beyond simple awful basketball. It's psychological warfare. Instead of reducing its stars to dusty highlight tapes and regret, this league is meant to preserve and elevate them. And yet, a league that begged for her genius but failed to cultivate it is slowly draining her.
Let's talk about Caitlin Clark. So she struggled once again in this game. She was 7 for 20 from the field and 1 for 10 from 3, which puts her at 1 for 17 over the past few games. And if you're a fan of Caitlin Clark, you know that this is so unlike her. She is arguably the best shooter in the WNBA, and she is having a significant cold streak over the past 2 games. But her missing shots isn't actually what bothers me. The thing that bothered me most in the game yesterday was the one shot that she passed up. Now, she had been missing a few shots, and if you guys were on my live stream, I said the thing that she needs to do is to continue shooting. Shooters shoot. The only way to break a cold streak is to continue shooting.
She is still in the early stages of her sophomore year. This is meant to be the period of I know what I'm doing now, glow up season, and big leap. Rather, she is attempting to survive the Hunger Games with a group of mismatched teammates with a water gun. League officials are out there playing Sudoku with the rules, which is almost poetic in a tragic Shakespearean manner, while the fan base is crying out for assistance. Every game is basically a remix of disappointment and damaged ribs for this generational talent trapped in a rerun of Groundhog Day. And despite everything, Stephanie White keeps grinning her way through news appearances as if she's discovered some secret strategy that can only be found in a parallel dimension. Leave before she begins to doubt the very instincts that made her unstoppable. She is stuck in a skip fire with a hoop fastened to the side before she exchanges her fire for exhaustion and realizes she isn't spearheading a revolution.
What'd you say? Wait, what? Did you just tell me that Stephanie White went on an interview tour this whole entire offseason saying exactly that? Did you just tell me Stephanie White went on an So how come when Caitlin Clark has a bad game, this team looks like absolute dog shit? How come when Caitlin Clark isn't busy backpacking this team, it looks like absolute dog shit, coach? Just a question. Just a question. What we saw today, folks, I feel bad for everybody that had to sit through that. Everybody that wasted 2 hours and 25 minutes watching the Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces. I feel bad that we had to sit through that. That was a tough watch.
It will be more difficult for her to recuperate the longer she remains in this emotional blender, so she needs an escape strategy, a parachute, and possibly even a time machine. No, it's not simply about losing games. This is about losing her identity as a player while the league watches helplessly. It's confusing. The moment she turned pro, they launched every camera and sponsorship agreement. They are now allowing her to be overshadowed by her aimless dribble handle and post entries. She is the player and the reason people are watching. She is not just any player. Nevertheless, they are treating her like a spare part in a team reconstruction that is 20 years old and has a broken GPS. Stephanie White, meantime, is occupied with treating lineups like a Pinterest board and continuously experimenting with absurd rotations. Yes, let's remove Caitlin from the ball for 80% of the game. That will undoubtedly resolve the issue. This is the kind of situation that screws with your soul, not just your stats, so if no one is going to save her, she must save herself. To be honest, she deserves better. Better is what the supporters deserve. Better is what the game deserves.
Well, I think you have to look at things a little bit holistically. I think Caitlin Clark is a really hard player to officiate, much like Diana Taurasi was throughout the course of her career, for a couple of reasons. Caitlin Clark regularly gets picked up in the full court. She also gets blitzed more over the course of her career than any player in WNBA history or in that period of time. And she also creates some contact herself on the offensive end of the floor. She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her.
Therefore, Caitlin Clark needs to start packing her bags unless Indiana finds a spine, a new strategy, and a coach that can distinguish between mobility, offense, and uncontrolled flailing. Because we won't be witnessing the rise of a superstar if she stays around much longer. We are witnessing Stephanie White's fantastic mystery tour of tactical misunderstanding, apathy, and terrible whistling bury a legend. She is on the court, but she is not in charge. Not even near. Caitlin Clark appears to be imprisoned in a futuristic stage play in which she plays the major role but is never permitted to speak. There are movements. She still has talent. However, she is no longer the absolute gravitational center of the basketball universe. Instead, her authority, leadership, and commanding spark are being buried, dimmed, and destroyed. There is no development for Caitlin Clark. Like a car being disassembled for parts in a back alley garage, she is being disassembled and disassembled piece by piece. Additionally, everyone is behaving as though being gaslit into irrelevance is a character-building exercise and that it's just part of the rookie experience. It's not, spoiler alert. Wrapped in a glossy WNBA emblem, it's a gradual, cruel, soul